Hello, hello, and welcome one, welcome all. So happy to have you here. If you're a returning viewer, listener, subscriber, welcome back, welcome back. And if you're new to this channel, welcome to the Voices in Education. This is a safe space where we share and learn from each other. We do that in a respectful way to ensure that we're maintaining our safe space, our safe community where you feel welcome and where you feel a sense of belonging. So, for this conversation, it's about, Peter Bunting in the context of Manchester Southern, and also given the recent updates in the context of Robert Chin, the sitting MP, so the now member of parliament, as well as, the runoff, or let's say some competition from Ian Hives. All right, so again, welcome one, welcome all. Let me know if you're hearing me there in the chat. So hopefully you're hearing me loud and clear there in the chat. So again, welcome one, welcome all. All right, so join us, join us, join us if you're here. So just waiting for a few more persons to get on this one. And again, it's going to be a very quick one, all right? But would love to hear from you guys, all right? So welcome, welcome, welcome. And again, we're going to have a conversation about South Manchester, all right? So definitely want to hear from you in the context of this conversation. So join us if you can and let us chat quickly. All right, so perhaps you don't know, and that is why we're here. And if this is your first time just being here since we're back, welcome back. So, welcome one, welcome all. I just need to do a quick check here to make sure that you're hearing me there in the chat. So, let me just check this out. Yeah, and it sounds good. All right, so happy to have you here if you're here. And so, again, we're just going to give you an update in the context of what is happening in South Manchester. All right, so let me just go to this update from the Jamaica Observer. And so, Manchester, Jamaica. So the Jamaica Labour Party incumbent and member of parliament for Manchester South, Robert Chin, lost to businessman Ian Ives in an internal election on Sunday. All right, so just yesterday, as the party prepares for the next parliamentary poll. All right, so it is significant because we have heard, situations or context where Mr. Chin would not be, running again. And they were having talks in the context of Peter Bunting, who is going to represent the People's National Party there in South Manchester. And so that definitely makes a difference. And I guess when it's time to talk about Rhoda's, I guess, seat, because that's where Peter Bunting is coming from. And so here, the talk is, perhaps, Robert Chin. And by the way, South Manchester is, I would say, predominantly a PNP, seat. All right. And so if you know about the Pearts, yes. And in a little bit, hopefully, Ovi will join in a little bit. So this is just a quick update and a question to you guys. Will Peter Bunting take this one? All right, it's looking as if that's the situation, given the fact that, the JLP, they are doing some preparation in that context. So we want to hear from you, all right, in this context as well. And so here, Michael Stern, and let me tell you, he's the deputy leader in the Jamaica Labour Party, all right, confirmed that Ives was leading in the prelim result following the workers' vote, and another businessman, Adrian Peart, was also on the ballot for the internal election. And I believe Peart is related to the Pearts. Um, so Stern shared that they had a consultation with the workers to basically ask them who they would prefer. The last time was whether or not they have confidence in Mr. Chin. All right, so now what Stern is sharing here is that now they have asked the workers, who would you like to run for MP in this constituency? And Stern continued by sharing, and this time it is whether or not they choose one of the candidates who were interviewed by the party to move forward. And that is not final until we have to, I guess, until they get to the final result, going to the Operations Council and the Selections Committee, added Stern. He was cautious in explaining the outcome of the election to the media. And Stern continued, so even though today we had the runoff, a result which will come out in the public eye, we have to go back to the party and meet at the Operations Council and Selection Committee to make the final call. So at this moment, you might have heard that Mr. Ives is leading in the count, but that still has to be done at the party headquarters, where we have the General Secretary present to the Operations Council the result, and we assess what we have done. So that will be in a few days and it will be official. All right, so in that context, when asked about the timing of the vote in an election year and whether it could affect the party's chance in the election, Stern expressed confidence in the JLP retaining Manchester. All right, so South Manchester. There is no closeness as long as it is done democratically, clean, and it was done fairly. It was done honestly, and we made sure that the process was smooth, and today went fairly smooth right across the board. All right, so according to the Jamaica Observer, in the preliminary results shared with them, Ives polled 221 votes compared to 145 for Chin and 34 for Peart. All right, and so this is significant in the context of the upcoming general elections that are constitutionally due in September of this year. So, given this new information, and I'll say the likelihood of Robert Chin being replaced, so I'm just going to leave it there as the likelihood. All right, what it is, what are your expectations in the context of the upcoming general elections? So, do you believe that the JLP can retain this constituency, or is this a clear win for Peter Bunting? We would love to hear from you. So, and if you're here in the chat, please remember to hit the like button, the share button, and of course, the subscription button. So, I don't know, Avi, if you're here and, just give us a call. Would love to hear from you. But other than that, guys, this is just a quick update to let you know what is happening in the context of South Manchester. All right. And so that's the situation. So if you're here in the chat, definitely comment in the chat and let me know. And, This one, I feel like the PNP, perhaps they're going to regain this seat. Yeah, I think maybe that's the situation. But it's not over until it's over. And in that context, we just have to wait and see and what happens, come the election day. But it looks as if that's the situation. Hence, at this point, there is some need for this kind of preparation in South Manchester. Welcome, Mats Morgan. Happy to have you here. And so, again, guys, we want to hear from you. So, given this recent update in the context of the runoff there between, well, a few, I guess, persons who have shown interest in South Manchester from the JLP side. So we had Chin, the current MP, going up against Ian Hives and Peart. I think it's Aldian Peart. And so Hives won the count based on the prelim results. All right. But we are being cautioned by Michael Stern, that, there are still some processes to follow. And after those processes are followed, or, they're gone through the process, I guess, due process, then it will be official in the context of, who will represent the Jamaica Labour Party in South Manchester. So that is interesting. We know that Peter Bunting was selected some time ago to represent the PNP in that constituency. And from recollection, that seat is if you want to say it, and that's just it. And guys, we're just going to share the facts with you and let you, it's up to you to decide. So we're not a political platform, so we just share the information as is. And so in that context, that seat is predominantly a PNP seat. And I believe that with Peter Bunting going to South Manchester, I feel that the PNP has a strong chance, a very good chance of regaining that seat. And remember, welcome election watch. So we're here in the context of, bringing updates, and definitely we will be looking further into this constituency in the context of, likely outcomes. All right. So we await, I guess, the official announcement from the Jamaica Labour Party in the context of their candidate for South Manchester. And I'm circling for Ovi. I'm not sure if Ovi is ready for us, but welcome. I see that some persons are here. Welcome, or welcome back. It's been a minute, I know. So happy to have you here. Remember to hit the like button, the share button, and of course the subscription button. This is just a quick update. All right. So not a long live for this time, just a quick update, and would love to hear from you. So comment in the chat, and let me just drop the WhatsApp number in the chat here. So if you want to, let me just take this call. Hello, caller, you're live.
Hello, let me know if you hear me.
Yes, I'm hearing you, Avi. How are you?
Not doing too badly. Just want to say hello to all people out there.
Fantastic. So talk to
Yeah,
me. Given the recent updates, what are your views? South Manchester.
well, I'll share from both perspectives, from the JLP perspective and also from the PNP. So, from the JLP's perspective, they try to, get a strong candidate in place there to try to upset, you know, Peter Bunting in that seat. So they're doing their best to find the most potent candidate to put there based on persons who have expressed interest. But, as you clearly stated earlier, it has been, a PNP stronghold for quite a few years. You know, So that's a concern for the JLP. And, coming from the PNP standpoint, the PNP wants Bunting back in the fold, to have a seat in the parliament. Because I think if or when he wins the seat, he's going to be, roped back into the hierarchy in terms of making decisions. And, if Mark Golding does not get the support from the party, I think probably Peter Bunting would be somebody that they will put forward if, if Mark was to, you know, be terminated or decides to step down as party leader. So it's an effort, a significant effort to get him back into get him back a seat in Parliament, and I think that's why he left central Manchester to Rhoda and headed down south, where it's, more likely, I would say, for him to claim that seat. So I'm not sure how much influence Mark had on that, but I think in his own interest, I think it's a good move for him to be back in Parliament, having a seat. So that's how I view it from both sides. So I'm coming back over to you.
Yeah, fantastic. That's a very good point, in the context of bringing Peter Bunting back in. Because if we remember with the Rise campaign and, one PNP, we know that obviously there are some things in the PMP that are still unresolved from just those two sections of the PNP given the runoff in the context of leadership. And so I felt, Peter Bunting was just bad in the context of political timing. His decision was just bad in that context. And so if he had just waited until the elections and allowed, Peter Phillips to just go to the polls and just lose that, then he would have gotten, I believe, the leadership of the party. But then when the PMP lost the elections and then he lost his seat to Rhoda, then he just did not have a say. And so in that context, that's how I believe, Mark Golding got in. I don't think Mark Golding really had any leadership ambitions in the context of leading the country, but in the context of, I would say, their friendship, I assume, he took that really position. So I feel like, what you're saying is putting forward is a really good argument and something that we should perhaps dig deeper into in the context of a conversation, because setting up, Bunting getting a win, so setting him up in a constituency where he's likely to win obviously seems to be the plan here. And as you're saying here, perhaps, Golden is just holding on right now for Bunting to just win and perhaps come and take over the leadership of the the PNP. So that's interesting. That's interesting and a very good point though in that context, because oftentimes we don't look at that, but for sure that's a good point. That's a good point. Anything else you'd like to share with us, Ovi?
Nothing really. It's just interesting to see how the other seats will be settled too in terms of candidates, and what will happen as it relates to the election. And I'm really anticipating when that election will be called as well. So those are all things that are bubbling in my mind right now. But let's see. And I guess we'll be here to see how that unravels and provide information in that regard.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Ove, for calling and sharing. Guys, I promised you that this one was going to be a very quick one. All right, so on that note, we're ending, we're about to end this live. And please remember to hit the like button, the share button, and the subscription button. And stay tuned. All right. We're back in a good way. So we're back. Yes. Election watch. And of course, chumps. So we'll be here and we want you to stick and stay with us, for all the excitement and, just to journey with us, right? As we learn from each other and as we share, in this space in a very respectful way, of course. So, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you stopping by. Please remember to tell a friend to tell another friend about the voices in education. Blessings and love, everyone, and we'll see you in the next live. Bye for now.